I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor and you're watching Coffee and Crypto on this last day of the year 2021. And what a year has this been. So, it's just that time of the year when all of us are reflecting back on 2021, things we did, things we excelled at, things we didn't do very well at, and then also make plans for 2022. Watch out for trends. So we thought we'll do exactly that, but crypto style. So today on the program, we've got for you a roundtable of experts who will talk about trends that dominated 2021 and also reflect on what are going to be those magic numbers and figures and sectors to watch out for when it comes to 2022. So hold on, get your notepads out and get ready to hear the trends that will dominate 2022. But as always, let's get some coffee first. Okay, so let's do a roundup of 2021 first, and let's begin with how the cryptos actually fared this year round. And we've got a graph for you that tells you in just about a year's time what exactly has been some of the sort of how the top coins have actually done. We'll begin with Bitcoin over there. Went from 22 to about 38 lakhs as of this moment. Ether went from 54,800 to 3 lakhs. Nance went from 2,800 to about 41. Solana went from 150 to guess what? 14,270. So all you Solana people there ended up making a lot of money. Cardano also went from 15 to 112. Terra, Large, Polkadot, Dogecoin had a bit of a story over there, and so did Polygon. Went from 1.5 to 188. So that's been one of the top biggest gainers for the year 2021. The biggest story, I guess, has been the adoption of Bitcoin as a legal tender that took place in El Salvador. It became the first country to do so. That happened, and what also happened was China clamping down on cryptocurrencies, but it did not see the sort of response one had anticipated in a way. When it came to India, it had been a very, very, very interesting year. Indian governments, they considered regulation. We earlier got an old memo out which said it will ban crypto. Then they were all go about bringing in stakeholders. There were meetings taking place. Crypto was being discussed in Parliament, in cabinet meetings, in other forums as well. And Prime Minister actually launched this week itself, the last closing week of the year 2021, saw the Prime Minister launching IIT Kanpur degrees based on blockchain. That is the biggest sort of endorsement we've seen in the past 1 year. If we shift to, talking about blockchain, if we shift to the other tech out of crypto here, then NFTs really, they went mainstream. Average price of an NFT jumped from $25 in January to about $900 in December. India's had some massive NFT dumps as well, from cricketers to film stars to artists, all of them coming together. And then, of course, how can we forget? And how can we not talk about metaverse? It has been such a massive rage this year. It went mainstream. In fact, lockdown getting into place in several parts of the country meant like a lot of people making memes saying that, well, let's just join the metaverse New Year party. Paris Hilton will be hosting one, by the way. Justin Bieber performed in metaverse this year, and there are so many more events that are lined up. DeFi, another major traction point this year. Money on DeFi platforms rose to nearly $260 billion from $19 billion at the start of the year. Look at the jump over there. And over $600 million stolen also, a record DeFi hack. And later, all of that money, as it often happens, or sometimes happens, later returned as well. Another major update was that Taproot was that Bitcoin's first upgrade took place in 4 years as well. So that in a nutshell is pretty much what happened this year round. So having understood that, let's dive straight into our very first Coffee and Crypto Roundtable. And who do we have for you today? We've got Ajit Tripathi with us. He's the Head of Institutional Business at Aave. Hi Ajit, welcome to CC. Aniket Jindal is with us, co-founder of Konami. We've got Rohas back with us on the program as well, and Ramesh Kailasam as well, CEO of India Tech. So what we're going to do today is on this roundtable with experts who understand crypto like nobody else, we're going to throw some questions at you and I'll go around the table and understand everybody's view on the same. All right, so are you guys ready to take on the roundtable challenge and get on with the crypto predictions of bets to be made next year? All right, we'll begin with this year. So the first question that we have for you today is your crypto moment of 2021. All right. And Ajit, you want to go first?
Easily the Coinbase IPO, right? I think Coinbase IPO brought crypto into the deep end of the regulated institutional segment and made crypto really mainstream. It made everyone, literally everyone in the world take notice that something was going on. If you had to pick one, that's the one.
Yeah. Aniket?
Yeah, I think the year was full of moments, a lot of things happened this year, but I have to pick one. I'll say the entire Elon Musk fiasco, like whatever happened, like in terms of he promoting Bitcoin, then Doji, like that was like one of the moments for me.
And then the same happened with Web3 as well, and we don't know which way that's going to happen or go next as well. Rohas, for you.
For me, it would have to be El Salvador making or adopting Bitcoin as legal tender that happened in September. I think that was mind-blowing.
Right. And Ramesh?
Well, I'm a regulatory guy, so I'll keep my biases to regulatory stuff as well. I think I would say, we released the white paper this year and move towards a structured, defined, possibly some direction towards regulation discussions in India, which otherwise was missing. I would say that as a turning point in terms of discourse towards crypto in India.
Yeah, I actually agree with Ramesh a little over here. And for me also this year, crypto, for me the biggest moment was that, or perhaps the biggest point in this country this year was crypto became a household name in India. From pawn shops to auto drivers accepting crypto, from Prime Minister to Finance Minister talking about crypto at the highest level, being discussed in Parliament, in houses, in parties, on WhatsApp chats. Today, even my cleaning woman and my driver actually asks which coin to bet on. So for me, that exactly is the biggest achievement crypto has made this year. It has just become a household name now, which makes it even more exciting for our question number 2 for the panel, which is we want to understand next the most in-demand categories. It will be very hard to say what is the one thing you want to bet on. So you want to talk about categories first that you're looking at and in-demand categories for the year 2022. So it could be crypto gaming or metaverse, DeFi, Web3. Why don't we start with Rohas this time?
So for me, it's definitely gaming and metaverse, which I would club together. And in that, there are 5 cryptos that I would bet on. That's Axis, ENJ, Gala, Mana, and Sand. I think these are the absolute top of the list when it comes to this. And I'm very, very bullish on these sectors.
Right. All of them, in fact, some of them not doing very well for the past couple of weeks and months. But interesting that you find that.
Sure. I'd recommend that look at it from a 1-year perspective.
Yeah.
So if you were to hold it now and go till the end of next year, I think these would do pretty well.
Interesting. Aniket, for you.
It's going to be like more on the DeFi front. Like I do want to see more DeFi applications. That is like next gen neobanks. I don't know, like Ajit would comment more on that, but something not only crypto savvy users are using, but also like the mainstream audience are trying to use, and we can make it like more mainstream.
Right, Ajit.
Yeah, so it's so 2 things. One is I think institutional adoption of DeFi is here. We launched Arc just a few days ago, and it's a lot. And SEBA regulated Swiss bank have applied to be a KYC provider on that. So regulated DeFi, large scale institutional DeFi is coming. And since I'm also an investor and a long time supporter of Aniket and Biconomy, I would say cross chain bridges are really going to be a big deal next year.
Hold on to that. There is a different category and a question on that altogether. Ramesh, your thoughts on what category do you think will really stand out?
Well, I would say, I would tend to agree on the DeFi bit, but I would also add on the other bit which I keep talking about for regulation is the online gaming space. Yeah. And there I'm seeing a huge amount of appetite actually looking forward to kind of integrate with crypto and of course, looking at coins and so on. So online gaming space is something which is waiting up for some clarity on this side and wanting to take off.
Right. finding it really fascinating. Nobody mentioned NFT. Have we exhausted that this year already? Is going to be something that I'll come back to. But let's move on to the next question. And this is an interesting one. I know Rohas has already answered. But for the rest of the panel, I want to go to you on coins to bet on in 2022. Aniket, with you.
Yeah, I think I'm not the right person to comment on it because I kind of stay away from coins and price predictions. I'm more on the technology side of things. Maybe other panelists can comment more on the coins.
Okay, Ajit?
Which one to bet on?
Yeah, so look, I can't offer an investment advice, but I mean, everyone in crypto talks their own book. So it's tradition. So I would say Aave, Biconomy, DeFi will come back in a big way, and then crypto gaming is great, but I think it's also very overpriced. There has been a lot of FOMO, and I think Bitcoin will start to come back because it's something when the markets become a bit more rational, then you see some of the more the cryptos that have survived a long time start to really come back, and Bitcoin and Ethereum will recover big time next year.
I see. All right. So let me move on to the next question now. And when it comes to coins, one question really on everybody's mind is what is going to be the future for Bitcoin? Will Bitcoin remain the king in the year 2022 as well? That's an interesting space. I can't wait to hear answers on this one. We've been reading surveys and and experts writing down, somebody saying it's going to reach a new high, others saying that it's a bubble that is going to burst very soon. So let's begin with Aniket on this one and see what he has to say.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of whether Bitcoin will be the king or not, probably I don't think so. We'll get to see in 2022, but I'm more bullish on Ethereum. I'll say Ethereum has maybe it's a very biased opinion, more potential over Bitcoin in terms of whatever we're seeing developer activity happening over there and stuff happening. So for me, very biased opinion, I'm more on an Ethereum category over Bitcoin moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. Ajit, but isn't there already a lot of competition there for Ethereum? Are you seeing that shine out even in 22?
Yes and no, right? So I think Ethereum has had some challenges in terms of, DeFi has been a little bit hard to use on Ethereum for the ordinary user, but then there are solutions like Polygon. I'm, a long time supporter of Polygon, and Polygon is India's biggest crypto success story, right? I think one thing people aren't realizing is that the story isn't the coins and the prices. The story is how big an impact India is going to have, all the developer talent and technology talent in India is going to have on Web3. The last time the internet really happened, we didn't have, I was using dumb terminals at IIT Kanpur, right? And we didn't have proper computers and all that at homes. Now it's a very different story. Now everyone in India is on mobile and computers, and now we are really ready to build Web3. I think that's the big story. So India really needs to focus on the tech side of this.
All right, Rohas, for you, the question was actually on whether Bitcoin remains the king and is Ethereum going to see more competition?
Sure, Bitcoin is definitely going to remain the king according to me, and I would expect a $100,000 price by the end of next year.
Okay.
And when it comes to Ethereum, I don't really see it losing its number one position in DeFi, but it's definitely going to get a lot of competition from Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Solana. I think these would be really good competition. But Ethereum would still be number one for DeFi.
All right. Ramesh, you want to sort of weigh in on this everlasting battle between Bitcoin versus Ethereum?
Well, I would again give a regulatory spin to it and an India answer. And that is to say, let's look at what Government of India now defines and says in its upcoming whatever legislation that is, to say these are the coins we are going to allow you guys to trade in India, and these are the thresholds and these are the metrics for it. So whoever makes the cut becomes the king then when the Indians start legitimately trading on it based on some regulation.
Well, I doubt if Bitcoin will not make the cut. If not Bitcoin, then what? That's something that we'll have to see to. But let's move on to the next one, and another word which has dominated this year's conversation, and it has had everybody jump onto it. There have been Twitter wars over it as well, and I am talking about Web3 expectations in 2022. Now, Web3 in 21 was all about VCs pumping in investment, on betting on it, on, of course, Elon Musk fighting over it as well, as was mentioned earlier. But Aniket, Web3 for you, specifically, which way do you see this moving forward? Are we getting closer to realizing, or are we still in the framework of finding out and, figuring out Web3?
I think this is a very close topic, and my entire company is based on Web3 only. So from last 3 years, we've been building on having Web3 adoption and getting more and more developers come in the space. Definitely, 2022 is going to be a lot on Web3. I already see like a lot of existing Web2 companies switching some part of the operations to Web3, and new like developers coming in, starting to build on Web3 rather than Web2. So we will see like a lot of Web2 companies, like having some part, like they're daily working on Web3. Plus, a lot of new gaming DeFi companies already going to be setting up Web3. So I'm very much bullish on entire Web3 and whatever like new developments will be seen in the space. Not only from the developer standpoint, like talk of the VC space. People have now, and VC firms have like separate arms where they just focus on Web3 investments. So this is a very hot and bullish topic, and like a suggestion to everyone who's kind of either is a entrepreneur or developer, very closely look at Web3 and try to do something here. 2022 is going to be mostly about Web3 in my opinion.
I see. Mostly about Web3 then, Ajit.
Yeah. So look, I think let's draw some context, right? We are in a cross asset class bubble right now. And that's because the Federal Reserve and central banks around the world have been printing a lot of money, trillions of dollars, right? So there is too much money in the system and everyone is speculating. So there is a lot of speculation. Indians have invested over 85 plus billion in crypto, but then it's not just crypto, right? We have meme stocks and property bubble and commodities bubble and so on. When all of this has settled down and we have kind of, normal service has been restored in terms of monetary policy and all of that, then it's really a tech story. It's not a buying and selling and trading story. And the tech story is being built by the likes of, Aniket and his team and Polygon and Aave and so on. And the tech story is that we are starting to build a class of applications that will be user owned, right? So unlike Facebook that's owned by Mark Zuckerberg, Google
not
owned
apps,
by
but dApps.
Yeah. So now it's not going to be about people printing money out of nowhere. It's going to be about user-owned platforms.
But do you see that being realized in 22, or we're still some time away from that? Rohas, how soon or how close are we really to realizing Web3?
I think it's already there in a big way. So if I look at my favorite Web3 coins, so first would be BAT, or Basic Attention Token. And as a content creator, I've been getting paid in BAT for like over a year now. And I see the use of it. It really makes sense to me and to most of the content creators I know. Another project that I actually end up using a lot is Filecoin, which is kind of like the Airbnb for data storage. And the third is Theta for video streaming. Now, these three platforms of cryptos are already there in the mainstream. So I think Web 3.0 is already there. It's just that the terminologies we can't all agree on. But I think it's already there. Pretty big.
All right, so I only have time to take one more question, and this one is going to be Ramesh's domain. The word for this year, for crypto in India at least, was regulation, right? We almost saw bill happen and then taken back. We almost saw ban come into place, then taken back. We almost saw a cabinet clearance as well and then taken back for a relook. So what exactly are we expecting in 2022? And, Ramesh, I want to understand this from you. The information NDTV has as of this moment is that there's nothing happening on the regulation front, at least till the time elections are over. So post that, are we expecting some dramatic sort of regulation to come in, bill to be passed perhaps in 22?
Well, there are two ways of looking at it, and I think all the information that you mentioned, I tend to agree with you on that. But if you look at the white paper that we had released, the reason I go back to that is because in the white paper, we had recommended everything that you can do without even a bill, which means that today if the government decides, and you have the budget session of Parliament coming up in January end, beginning of February, they can name it in the budget session, in the budget document to say cryptocurrencies will be treated this way and this is how they will be taxed and this is how the relevant changes in respective acts have to be made. You can tweak 4 or 5 acts and make it into a regulation of sorts automatically. So my sense is that, I mean, ideally, if the government reads my white paper even more on a second look basis, I would tend to make their life easier by saying, don't go for a bill, just tweak all your existing regulations and allow things, and where necessary, come out with specific clauses and so on as we go along. But my reading is that we need to have something in place in the budget. We can't be kind of pushing it over and over and again.
I see.
I tend to see a clarity emerging in the budget document.
In the budget document itself. That's interesting. Ajit, for you?
Yeah, so I think, look, there is no point in applying existing rules to the new internet, right? So if that's what Bill Clinton and Al Gore had done, we would not have the internet we have today. So I think we really need to acknowledge the nature of this technology and really, update our existing rules and regulations to what's really going on with the tech. And I think that's where innovators like Aniket, myself, our DeFi ecosystem, we need to kind of work with policymakers to educate and inform and work collaboratively to figure out regulations that make sense. If we apply existing rules, we're just going to hurt Indian economy for the next 10 years.
And I think what everybody is really seeking in 2022 in terms of regulation is clarity on this front. We want to know for sure which way, because, one news and an old document that actually surfaced sort of brought a bloodbath in the markets. That's something that everybody wants to avoid. Isn't that true, Aniket?
I mean, definitely running a company from India, definitely that's something we want to see, because all our team members, employees were always kind of scared, what's going to happen, how we should actually think of future, whether it's going to come or not. Plus, a normal, a headline is misinterpreted in so many different ways. So as for Indian entrepreneurs and developers who's building on this space, we definitely want more clarity so that we can stay in India, work here, and also help to the economy.
Right. Rohas, last word. Regulation.
Sure.
Stuff that you're looking forward to.
So I'm hoping that the government takes a functional approach, and instead of trying to put all cryptos into one basket, there are 11 different very clear categories. And I think we need separate laws to handle. Some can be done under existing, but some are going to need in new legislation. I'm hoping the government takes the functional approach.
All right. So regulation is a subject actually that will definitely moving forward. But going by what Ramesh has said, that maybe something is coming up in the budget session. That will be interesting to watch out for. All right. So that is the roundtable on coffee and crypto, the very first one that we've done for this year. We'll be talking about all these trends in much more detail as we approach the next year as well. Why don't you send us your list this time around as feedback on things you want to see on the show, and we'll be happy to incorporate it in the upcoming episodes as well. Also coming up in the next episode, we're going to talk to IIT professors about degrees that were given out. But why on this show? Because it's actually based on blockchain, and guess who made that announcement? Well, Prime Minister Modi himself. Isn't that one hell of a teaser coming up for the new year? So all those details, you'll catch us next week. Until then, Happy New Year, guys.